Hey folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to work on the pair of earrings using the wooden pieces from out of SoftFlex Design Company's Book Lovers. So there is our piece. We've got a variety of things we're going to use. Let's turn down and I'll show you what I mean. What I have done already is I have traced around our wooden pieces with an ink pen so that they're the size of our wooden pieces on the tissue that was the package was wrapped in. So now what I need to do excuse me, is I'm going to cut these out. And once I have them cut out, we're going to glue them on to both sides of our earring backs. Now I'm not going to worry about if these are perfect, because if there's a little wood showing, just makes them a little bit more the way they are. So I'm going to just cut the first two out, then we'll get them glued onto that, and while that dries, then we will worry about getting the other two cut out. Now these two, or two of these, are just going to be the back, what the back looks like, because I want it to have something besides just the wood. The front is going to have cut out of these pages of book pages over the top of the tissue. So I'm going to cut it back a little bit so you see the tissue, and then, and actually I may even, instead of cutting it back some, I may just cut them to the right size, and then take and tear them a little bit along the edges to give them some difference. So let's take our glue stick, and we will, once we get this open, we'll just glue all over the wood. And I'll probably get glue all over my fingers, of course, but that's all right. And we'll take the first one and place it over the top by going right at the point and bringing it down. Now, as you can see, I'm a little bit over in some spots, and we will just see if we can trim that out of there. Looks like it's mostly from here. And right here, just a little bit. Get out of the way. So now this is one side, and it just has to dry, and then we'll get the other side on. And then what we're going to do, like I say, is we will then, this is just going to be what this side's going to look like. I'm not going to probably do anything more on this side at all, though I could. There's plenty of page here that I could do both of them exactly alike, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. So second one here, exactly the same as the first one. Now there's getting some crinkles in here, and you know what? I'm not worried about that. It'll make it just look a little more edgy or natural kind of thing. So that's the way that goes. And like I say, now let's see how much of this one needs trimmed. Oh, a little bit, but not too horrible. Right here's some. And then down around the corner here. So now these have to dry for a while, and once they're dry, then we will work on the other side, getting the other side's pieces on here. In the meantime, I am going to cut these other pieces out so I have them for when we need to have them dry. Okay, I've got our other two pieces cut out for the other side. Now, the other thing we want to do is take these pages, and we're going to draw these as well. So we have these two on this one, and then this is also the Bridgerton, the Duke and I. So I'm going to draw these two as well. That way we have one for front and one for back. And then we need to cut out these. There's a slight difference with what I want to do with these though. And actually, I may just try it on one of these and hope that it works and I don't wreck it, because I only have this one page. So what I want to do is I'm going to go down to the piece and I'm going to just sort of tear it within a little bit within our circle, in our drawing, so that it's not quite all the way to the edge, so that our tissue shows at the bottom with it. Oh, there we go. I was going to say that's not tearing quite the way I want it, but that's all right, it just did. And so what's going to happen is once we get these done, this isn't going to be nearly the whole of the earring that way. Oops, we got a piece that I don't want there. So what then we'll do is we'll take this and we'll glue it on like this so that it shows up. The paper shows up behind it. And then we're going to do a bead strand that will also go over the top of this. So since this baby is drying, I could just put this on here at the same time, but this one has a gap, a white gap, and so does this. So I think these are the two I'm going to use for the back, and we'll use these ones with more type on the ones for the front. These pieces look so much smaller once they're torn like this. Now see, that one has a bit of ink showing from my sketch, so we want to get that off. Oops, wanted a bit less than that, but that's all right, it'll work. We're just gonna put that on like that. So that those will be like this. This is going to be the back side. We'll flip it over and do the front side. When we tear this off, we'll put these pieces on the front side. So let's get these two torn, and so we're ready for them when we start putting them together. What we're going to do is we'll flip these over right now. These are the front ones, words. And these are the tissues. So let's get the tissues on. And we'll, because it's sticking out the edge. There we go. Okay, now we're going to let it sit for a little while, and then we're going to trim those edges off, and then we can, switch the side that's dry, which is this side, we can start putting our papers on. Now we're at the point where it's time to put on the picture pieces. I mean the painting pieces. So because I'm going to use the glue directly on the pieces rather than on these pieces, I'm going to get my mat out, and we're going to glue these directly from here, because I'm sure to get glue on the mat, which I can see I already have done. So now that we've got that glued, we'll put it into place. This is a back one, as is this one going to be. So we'll flip it over and put it in place. So there's the two backs. Now we're going to wait for a while for it to dry just a little bit, and then we will do the two fronts. And it really doesn't have to dry a long time. This is Elmer's glue stick, and it's not going to be too much of a problem to flip it and do the other side. So let's do that. We'll get these going, and then we're going to let them dry for a while. And we will need to resin them before we, or at least diamond glaze, something like that, so that it will hold seal it in place. Now I suppose that I could seal it with the thing I seal my paints with, and that is just putting some, spraying them with Krylon spray. Now see, this did go over a little bit, so I'm going to have to see if I can't tear it a bit, like right here. And I may just take the scissors to it, because it's easier said than done to tear it when it doesn't want to tear. Same with down here. I actually can see some blue mark on here, which I'm surprised, because I thought I got all the blue mark torn off. So there's that one. Now we got to do the other one. And we're going to have to re-punch the holes again, obviously, because I've just covered them all up. So now we'll need to set these aside to dry for a while before we can go any further on these. Though I suppose we could make the bead strands so that we have them ready to put together when we get to that point. So to do those, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the little book at the bottom, and then we have this guy and two of these purples coming down to the book, though I do need to get a couple spacers out. And then those will hang in the front here, and then we'll have hanging from, we're going to do like this for the top portion there. So it will make a long earring. If you don't like a long earring, don't put the top portion on for sure. But that's the best we're going to be able to swing it down to. So I do need to get another couple of wires out and some spacers. We need silver since that's what we're using. Well, that's obviously more than we're going to need. But there we go. Okay, these are dry somewhat. Not entirely, but pretty much. I'm going to take a Sharpie now, and I'm going to paint the edges, because we've already got all kinds of stuff along the edges and we want to have it pretty well sturdily put in the right color. Now I didn't mind the brown. In fact, I really quite liked the brown, but it needed some touch-ups, so the black works fine. Let's see if this is going to have to find where the hole is at now, because we covered it up with the paper. I think it's probably right in here. There it goes. Right through there. We tore the paper on this side, but that's to poke the hole like this. We'll go back over on this side to poke it. So there's the hole back in place in this one. So now we have to do it on this one. Now when we resin it, we'll also got to be careful of, we're going to probably have to redo the hole again. So there's that step all ready to go. It needs to now be resined or diamond glazed, some kind of sealant on it anyway to hold the pages and stuff in good. And the next step then would be to put together our pieces that are going to dangle down from our book. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to take our little book here. We're going to open up this eye pin and put our little book charm on. Close her back up. And then the beads for here are going to be one of these little purples, a little tiny daisy spacer, this bluish colored purpley one here, daisy spacer, and another one of the little purples. And then this is going to hang from the front here, like so. So because it's hanging, we're going to make our loop going this direction. And then we will get our bell making plier, go in, up and around and over, bring her down and over, and then we will wrap this up. Now, as you can see, I had enough wire that I could have actually done taken that simple loop off at the bottom and switched it to a wrapped loop, but I didn't, so I'm not going to worry about it now. So this is a little crooked, so we are going to straighten it some. So that will hang on here. So we'll get the next one going here. Oh, we've got the second one ready. And our next step is going to be to make a big loop. And then these are going to go up it. And then hang off our ear wire to finish it off. But we cannot put that part together yet, because we have to resin these. And because they have to be resined, we probably are not going to be able to finish these until tomorrow. But let's put all these little bits and pieces in a baggie so we don't get them all messed up or lost. I have one right here. We're not going to put the wood pieces in a baggie because we're going to get some resin or some diamond glaze, and we're going to I would use my Rust-Oleum on them, but I don't know that it would, whether it would be I'm not saying it wouldn't be strong enough, I'm just not sure it would create a good cover for it, so to speak. I just think the resin would probably be better. So we'll put these aside for right now, and we will see about getting some resin or something to put on the top of these. Now, if I put resin on them, I'm going to simply brush it after I put it on there so it will go all the way to the sides. And I'm going to need a really crappy brush for that, so I'm going to find one and we'll get started on doing that.
Okay, as I said, I put some UV resin on here, but it looks like it could use, no, I guess it's pretty good. I thought I saw a weak spot there, but when I go over it with the brush, it seems to be covered entirely. So, there, that'll take care of that one. Now I'm using a brush because I wanted it spread out pretty good. And so now what I need to do is find my UV resin light. Get it plugged in, and then we will get this side dried up as much as possible, and then do the other side. Okay, we've got the UV light going on our pieces. We'll see how long that takes to dry. It may take a while because, well, frankly, oh, I think that's the 30-second. We want 60. And I think I just got UV resin on my new mat. Naughty me. But so we'll see how long this takes to dry. Usually it takes a few minutes at least. Like I say, it dries best if it can get out in the sun, because the sun is a UV and it keeps it drying nicely. So okay, it's still quite sticky, so I'm going to go one more time at 60 seconds, and then if it's still not dry, which probably it won't be, I'm going to set it aside, and we will have to come back to it later. I have noticed that it's not got resin all the way to the edges in some spots. For instance, right here. So I'm going to do a layer of resin all the way around the edges, like so. And then I'm going to get the brush back out and brush it again. See if we can't even that closer to the edge out, so that it's looking better. Then it's going to have to sit aside because it wasn't entirely dry with just that little bit. So since I'm adding more to it, we're definitely going to have to let it dry a while longer. So I may have to put some more in the middle to even it out some. If that's the case, we'll do that in just a moment. Right now I'm worried about, I just want to get the edges of both of the edges done. And we will come back to them at a later time.
Okay, this is taking its own sweet time to dry, so we are going to put this aside, and we will probably have to come back in a few hours, maybe even tomorrow morning, to finish this one up. So we'll be back after a while when it finishes drying. Bye-bye. So our front side has finally dried. I got some sun today and we took it outside. And even though we've got a few rough edges around the edge, I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's all right. This one looks better. But so now we need to do the second side. I have discovered that I can wiggle it around with a toothpick better than with a paintbrush. So I'm going to just put a puddle of the on either side. Maybe a touch more. There we go. Close this baby up. And then I'm going to take this toothpick and I'm just going to spread the resin around on our piece of earring here. Go up and try and get into all the edges. Now, for some reason, I think it was because of resin coming from the other side, we've got these spots here, and I don't know if these will cover up with the resin or if they're going to just stay a spot like that. If they are, well, that's the way it's going to go. I'm going to need a little bit more here because I have this one side that is not getting any. So we'll put it right here, and I'm going to put a little up here at the top of this one. As you can see, it's still spreading itself, which is good. Let's see, we have a piece of dry spot there. We don't want that. We have a bubble. Now, like I said prior to this, if you put these out in the sun, they will dry better than if you use your UV light. Even though the UV light works good, it stays sticky for quite some time with the UV light. So if you put them out in the sunlight, and we do have some sunlight today, they will dry much, much quicker. So we need just a touch more here. So we will push this into the edge here. I think we're good with both of these. So we'll close our resin up and we will put our lamp on it for a few moments, and then once the lamp has dried for a while, we will put it outside in the sun until it finishes off. So let's get our lamp up here and we will put it on for a couple of minutes till it hardens up, but it will still be sticky. So then we will put it outside to finish up that last bit of drying it needs to do. Got it under the lamp for a couple of minutes. It is still sticky, but it is technically dry, but it is sticky. So I'm going to go take it out in the sun, and after it sits in the sun for a while, we'll be able to finish these off. Okay, we have our pieces all dry now. It's amazing how fast the sun will do it when you can't get it to go any other way. I have noticed a few weirdo things here. Number one, we've got a little bit of tissue hanging here, and a little bit of drops here and there of this one is poking up a little bit, and I noticed this one is too right here, and it's hard. It won't come down, come down. We got a little bit of wower right there, but nothing really big. So here is what our front of our earrings is going to look like. And now we got to re-punch the holes because we have
We have a resin in them, of course, so we'll just take our punch here and punch through, and go through the other side as well. Now I seriously think that maybe the middle of the resin isn't quite dry. Ooh, that snapped it. Well, that's the back, so it's not as bad. Though I could take a little tissue paper and still put over the top of that if I want to push that through. Let's see if I have a wire here. See if I got this to go all the way through. I did not. It still doesn't want to go through. So we will have to get the regular punch with the screw, and we will put it on that groove. And screw it down till we have our hole cleared out. There we go. Looks like it might have cracked the top here. We will find out one way or the other here pretty soon. Like I say, that is the back, so I'm not as worried about it. So ooh, now that's the front. We did crack the front this time. So I will get in here and make the new hole, and then we're going to do a little patching on this. Let's see if it went through already. No, just starting. And it's not quite in the right spot. Now, because this is wood, if you have wood putty around your house, you can repair it that way. I do, somewhere. So and I broke it entirely. That's not good. So what we're going to do, since we did break the tops, is we're going to have to trim this off. To do that, I'm going to take my and we're just going to clip off the top of this, round it back out some, and we'll have to sand it because it's not even from being trimmed. And because we broke that one, we're going to round this one out as well because we don't want them to be different. These splinters off here. Now let's see how close they are to each other. Not bad. but they do need to be sanded. So we'll take our, what I do with my, there it is, my file, and I'm going to file the edges up here. Those look like they're pretty much the same now. So now we have to figure out how we want to put a hole in these, or since the hole did not work with the resin, it just broke it, we will need to think about maybe a glue-on bell or something, since we trashed out the top of our piece here. I think I'm going to just go all the way around again so that we're consistently the same. And then we'll have to think about what we want to use for the top. So, oops, we got a little, there we go. Now we have to decide what we're going to do to put these together. Well, since we broke the top of our pieces here, we had to come up with a new plan. So what I'm hoping will work is I'm going to cut some square wire. This is 18 gauge SoftFlex square silver. And I'm going to get about 10 inches, I think. You know, this is just a guesstimate what I want, so hopefully it will work the way I want it to. So we'll get 10 inches out, 2 pieces of 10 inches. But we'll just start with one just to make sure it's going to work before I decide on getting a second 10 piece out. So then what I want to do is I'm going to, I think to fancy this up some, I'm going to get my pin twist out. And we're going to twist this wire some. So we'll poke her into the end here. There we go. It's not very far in, but it should be enough to hold it. Then we'll get our pliers and we'll hold this other end here. Come on, baby, just grab the end. There we go. Then we take our twist and we just twist it. And we do that until we get it about the amount of twists we want. It says we're done, so we will be. So now that we've got this little twist in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this at about where the middle is, and then I'm going to bring this up and around my piece as close as I can get it without knocking it off entirely. Come on, baby, stay put there. It wants to come off, which is actually something I was afraid of. So we'll Get it as close as we can get. Now I'm going to bring these together as much as I can up here at the top. And if I need to, I will add a little bit of, this has got a bubble here, so we want to get that out as much as possible. And I'm going to get some half round or some round. It doesn't matter at this point because we're just going to pull these two together up here and tighten them as tight as we can get them to stay. And hopefully it will stay up on this wood piece as well enough. If not, we can always add a little glue to the edge to keep it in place. So we'll get a little bit of half round and we'll tighten that up, just like if we were wire wrapping. Okay, so now that I've got this piece of half round cut, we're going to pull these pieces back into place up here. Get it as good as we can here. Then we're going to take our piece of half round and we're going to start wrapping it around our wires. Now I think I have the flat side up as opposed to down, but oh well. So oops, that came loose. We didn't want that. It's supposed to stay tight right here. Still looking scrappy, but it's going to become a little bit different in a minute anyway. So, because once I get this in the way I want it, and this could go down a little bit further if it will. I'm not sure it will. Then what we're going to do, yeah, it's loose. We don't like that. But we're going to do a, where's my ply? There we go. Come here, you. Use these. And we're going to wrap this down here like we would if we were wire wrapping. And then we're going to bring this one. Come here, you. Come on. This way and this one this way. Bring them together here more, because see, I've got it still way up here. We don't want it up that way. So we're going to bring that around. And it's coming out. We don't want that to happen. I still haven't clipped these little wires off, though I will need to. And this one will come all the way around, like so. And then this one's going to come around to the front. And we'll clip these little wires out. They can go tuck into the middle there. Oop, don't push it all the way off, Rose. Now this one needs to cut and get tucked underneath this other wire here. Come on, cut. And then we'll tuck you right here. Now, this shorter wire, which is going to stay here in the back probably, though we could bring it to the front. Come here, we'll bring her to the front. And we're just going to bring it to the front and tuck it in. And it looks like it has a sharp edge, so I'm just going to cut that edge off before I tuck it into this hollow spot right here in the middle. Now this one that's still here is going to become a stabilizing piece. It's going to stay right here, like so. And I'm going to put a couple of little silver balls on there. Pretty sure these ones will fit because we've used them before. Well, maybe not. I was sure they would because I've used silver balls on here before, but I must have used them on a smaller size of wire. So we will just put these away since they don't seem to want to work. And that's all right, because what I'm going to do with this is we're going to take it. I'm going to pull it up some so I can work with it easier. And we're going to take it and we're going to do a spiral. Come on, stop snapping on me. It's going to sit right here. I want it sort of centralized because I'm going to use that as my point for hooking on this piece. Now that makes it be longer than I would have normally wanted it to be, but I think it'll be all right nonetheless. Now, since I'm pretty sure I can probably pop this piece out, not as easily as I thought. But we'll need to put that piece in there. And we can either, like I say, hang this little piece right here, or we can leave it off. But I think it can hang right here. We'll just put a jump ring right there where that little circular piece goes around here, right through here. And it will hold it in, it will let it swing right there. It's actually staying pretty good. Now this is a lot messier wrap up here than I like, to be truthful with you, but it'll work. Now, if it looks like this is going to come out, you can always add a dab of glue in a few spots, like maybe right here, where we've got this weird wonky spot anyway, and up here at the top. But hook our book right here. And then if we wish to add more up the top, then I can make a loop here and we can do a little piece up at top like so. But let's get a jump ring. We'll need a regular. Do I want a large or will a medium do? Well, let's try a medium. I actually think I may have a medium open over here on this side. So I could try and see if this medium will work. If not, we'll have to get a large one. But let's see if we can get this to work. What I wanted to do is just go up and through that loop right there that's on come on, baby, go through. Okay, are you going to be good enough or are you going to be too tight? Let's find out. So we want to put our little book right on our jump ring here. Come on, you, behave. There we go. Then we'll see if we can get this jump ring to close. Come on, jump ring. I've come to the conclusion that this earring is trying to drive me nuts. There we go. So there's that. And now I have to decide how I want to finish it up. If I do want to put a little decoration up on top before the ear wire, or if I want to just call it quits with it. Well, I'd still need to put a little bit of something because it's jump ring. It's gonna... I think maybe we'll leave the barrel off and just put the two little cubes and one of our, like so. So let's get this piece going. And we're going to need to use the large size, because we're going around that loop. And I didn't leave enough wire to make a big
hook, so we're just going to go through here like this. Hold her out together here and just give her one twist, maybe two if we can get it to do it. Come on, you. There we go. Now, because our ear wires are going to come this way, this one needs to go this direction. So we'll bring her over here. Now we're going to get our regular stepped bell making pliers. Go with the smaller one. Oops, smaller. Up and around and over. Bring her around. Leave a small gap. Feed your ear wire in backwards so that when it comes around, it will be going the right direction, like so. Now we're going to wrap that up. And trim her off. Tuck her in. Okay, she needs straightened a bit. She's a little crooked. And this one's finished. Though I am going to put a touch of glue right here where the wires come together here. And probably down here where it's got this little gappy spot anyway, just to make sure our loop doesn't slip off. So this one is finished other than the glue. And now we can do the second one. I'm not going to use these pieces, so we're going to set those aside. While we get the 10-inch piece of wire, that's what I used, I believe, to go around our top piece here. Then glue it in place some, and that's it. Okay, so this piece needs to slip in from this side. No, you go in there like a good baby. You managed to get yourself out, so get yourself back in. Okay. Now there's what they look like all done, though I do need to put a little glue on to make sure that they stay where I've got them. So we'll get my glue, the E6000 out, I think.
So now we just have to let these dry for a while, and they should be good to go. So anyway, here is our earring. There's one of them. Here's the second. And even though these gave us major headaches, because I broke pieces and such, and it took me forever to decide how I wanted to finish them up, I think they turned out really cute. So anyway, these earrings were made with SoftFlex Company's Design Challenge Kit, Book Lovers. And like I say, even though they gave me fits, I think they turned out really cute. Now, the E6000 is going to have to take about 24 hours to dry to make sure it's set in there pretty good. But I really like them. I think I like these a lot. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. And again, we made these pretty earrings using the SoftFlex Design Challenge Kit, Book Lovers. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.